Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. I am so stinking excited to share with you guys about our trip to New York. Cue the music, right? We literally just got home like 30 minutes ago, pulled in the driveway, chilled for just a minute, and I was like, I've been dying. I could not wait to get on here and share with you guys all of the incredibleness that happened on this trip. All right. So let me tell you all about that. So we got to go to New York City with the Cincy incentive trip. So in 2022, we earned I earned for one the incentive trip, and we had our choice of one of technically 6 locations. So the 4 region 1 locations were New York City, which is what we chose, Quebec, Cabo, and Caribbean cruise. Region 2 and Region 3 were Fiji and Monte Carlo. And if you earned enough points, you could pick from all 6, which was amazing. It's not something they do super often with Cincy, but it was really cool to see how that worked. So we chose New York. We went to New York December 2018, had a great time. It was a short weekend. We were absolutely exhausted and fit in as much as we could. And I've been dying to go back in the springtime. So it was perfect alignment that Cincy was offering this in the spring, and also to experience anything Cincy style. I'll tell you guys, there is nothing like traveling with Cincy. If you haven't done it yet, just trust me, we will go into all of those dang details. So it all starts off with you earning the trip. You pick your location this time around, and Cincy just kind of whisks you away. They take care of a lot of things, so you can choose to have them book your flight, which Global Travel did through Cincy. Cincy paid for the flight. We paid for Kevin's flight, but they booked everything. She said, okay, you're looking for earlier in the day, later in the day? Here's your 2 options. Which one do you like better? And then they took care of the rest of the booking, sent me everything I needed, right? Amazing. Then if you come in and leave on the Cincy travel days, they also take care of your transportation to and from the airport. Hello, that's amazing. So you have to get yourself to and from the airport from your house, but they'll take you from the airport to the hotel and from the hotel to the airport. And there's a guy that'll be standing out there, or girl, standing out there with a sign that says Cincy, and then they're going to whisk you away. So you don't even have to worry about planning how you're going to get to and from the hotel, which is just another thing. If you're a planner like me, you're like, one less thing on my plate is always appreciated. So that is how our trip started. We actually came in a day early just because we wanted to have some extra time. We wanted to go out for our anniversary dinner. We went out to Daniel, the Michelin star restaurant, and it was incredible. The best dining experience of my life so far. We were blown away by it. So came in early, did that. It was incredible. Now, first day with Cincy, which would have been Sunday, right? So Sunday, we just kind of hung around the city for a little bit. We were already there. We slept in quite a bit because we did go out to dinner. And then I was messaging Christina Steenbrook. So she is a Cincy Superstar director that I have been following for a super long time. I did not get to know her, up until this point, and she's definitely someone on my list that I was like, I want to get to know this person. She's just super authentic. So I messaged her and I was like, I'm so excited to hug you later today. And she goes, oh, actually, what are you guys up to? And before we know it, we had lunch plans together. So her mom, Joni, myself, and Kevin, we all went out to lunch together at Junior's, which, if you don't know what that is, by the way, super famous for New York cheesecake. We, of course, had some cheesecake and it was delightful. Then after that, we just kind of hung around. It was pouring down rain, but we weren't going to let that stop us. And we just kind of walked around Times Square. By the way, we stayed at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. And let me show that to you guys, because this hotel was wild. It was huge, absolutely massive. The heart of Times Square. So we could walk to just about anywhere from our hotel, which was just absolutely nuts to think about. So let me show that to you guys actually really quick so you can see what our hotel looked like. So this is where they put us up, okay? This massive hotel. Kevin and I stayed on the 44th floor, and we had an incredible incredible view of the city. So I can actually show you that. So each morning and each night we were going through and taking pictures of what it looked like, you know, from our hotel, which was just like super cool. So here's our view from the hotel. As you guys can see, it's massive. You know, like you get this really cool skyline view. Everyone that was there with Scentsy had a different view of everything. So they put us up in this glorious hotel right in Times Square. So we walked around Times Square for a bit, and then we had our welcome dinner. Now, let me tell you, any Scentsy event you go on, you will have a welcome dinner or a welcome reception. And what that is just, it's near the end of the day on the first day to give everyone time to travel in. They feed you, they take care of you, and then you just kind of get to connect. You know, you're going to say hi to Scentsy friends that you already know. You're going to make some new Scentsy friends. Home office staff is there for you to hang out with, and it's magical. So we had a huge spread of food. Like it was 2 giant lines, like buffet style, but it was so good. They had like dumplings, sushi, stir fry rice. They had, you know, all sorts of different bread to pick from. They had 2 other stations with, you know, like sliced beef tenderloin. They had au gratin potatoes, all sorts of goodness over there. They had a coffee bar, and then my favorite, they had a cheese wheel. And then they were putting warm pasta inside of the cheese wheel and stirring it up so that it was all covered in cheese. Oh my goodness. So we ate more than enough. And then they had a whole nother station in the back set up for desserts. There was like literally towers of desserts that we got to eat and hang out with. So it was really cool to just connect. But I'll tell you guys, with our New York trip, there were only 93 consultants with 60 guests. So when we have small, intimate groups like that, you just get to spend so much more time hanging out with people from home office, like Heather Bushman and Michaela Chaplin. So those 2 plus Eldon Gale make up our 3 major events team staff, and they make all of our trips possible. So we got to hang out with them at the event. We got to see Dan, talk to Dan, get pictures with him, and then just hang out with each other, which is always really cool. And it just kind of kicks things off. All right. So the next day we started off nice and bright and early for our bus tour. So when we registered for this, we had the option to pick which locations we wanted to do between one of 4 group tours. Kevin and I chose the historic downtown because Kevin is a history buff, and I knew that if we were going to do a tour, that would be the one he would want to do. So we got taken over to a bus. All of us Scentsy people hopped on. Our tour guide was absolutely hilarious. They drove us through the historic downtown. We got off and did tons of walking. So we started off in Battery Park. We walked through Wall Street area. We went to Trinity Church. We saw the grave of Hamilton, Eliza, Angelica. If you guys are Hamilton fans, you know who I'm talking about. So that was really cool. And actually, let me go ahead. I'll show you guys through some of this. So all right, let's see our tour. All right, so this was that welcome dinner. So Dan's just kind of hanging out, right? Those are views from a street of the hotel. Oh, there's my Kevin grabbing his coffee. Oh, we'll go through room drops. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, first I want to share. All right, so we go on this bus tour. They greeted everybody with bagels. So New York City bagels, ready to go, packaged so you could eat while you were there. Oh my God, I feel like my photos are out of order. But anyway, so we went on this really cool walking tour and got to see tons and tons of things. We went through historic downtown. You know, we saw the stock exchange. There's, you know, Hamilton. We got to see the U.S. Custom House. We finished off our tour. We went to the 9/11 Museum, went up to the One World Observatory, went all the way to the top, got to see these crazy, crazy views of the city like this one. And then we finished off and everyone was greeted with black and white cookies, which apparently is a big New York thing. They were super tasty. And from there, Kevin and I, oh, there we are, us little cuties. Lots of pizza. This is going the wrong way. But yeah, so then we hopped on a ferry. Scentsy bought us New York passes. So New York pass just kind of covers all the touristy things. And they said, okay, here's a 2-day pass for you guys to go do whatever you want with, make it a completely customized trip. I wanted to go to Ellis Island, which is where my great grandfather had gone through from Italy into the States to meet his brother and build a new life here. So we hopped on the ferry. It went to the Lady Liberty over the Statue of Liberty. So we got to see her there. We got to see a really cool view of the city, which is what we're looking at now. And then we went over to Ellis Island. So that was just really cool. So here's from the 9/11 memorial. It's not going in order, my goodness. Here is Alexander Hamilton's grave, like I mentioned to you guys. Oh, here's while we're on that ferry. You just get a really cool view of the city. Super, super cool. Here's over at Ellis Island. So this is the registry room where everyone had gone through that immigrated, which was just super crazy. Here's our super tasty bagels. A really cool view of that city that we saw. And there she is in her beauty and glory. And let me tell you, pictures don't do that woman justice. She is 240 tons and she wears it so well. All right. And there's the One World Observatory where we had actually gone up to the top to see the views, which was just super crazy, really awesome, super cool to see. And yeah, so that was our day 2. That's what we had spent doing. And then afterwards, we just kind of chilled and hung out with a few Cincy consultants in the Cincy lobby or the hotel lobby, which is one of my favorite parts about these trips, is just connecting with people, you know, people you've never met, people that you've met and you get to reconnect with. It's super magical. All right. So that was day 2. Day 3, which would have been Tuesday, we started off the day, we're like, all right, we want to hit up our bucket list places. So Ivan Ramen, if you live in New York, you go to New York, it's an absolute must. He's on Chef's Table on Netflix. It's a really cool episode to watch. Ivan Ramen's created by this guy from New York, and then he went over to Japan for a while, came back to New York and has this ramen shop, and it is incredible. The yuzu lemonade had me absolutely melting into a puddle, followed by a trip to the Harry Potter store, which, by the way, guys, the butter beer in New York City, the foam tastes like marshmallows. I'm not a big butterscotch person, and that was such a treat. Like, truly heavenly, so good. Kevin and I both love Harry Potter, so that was a cool experience. Then we went over to the Lego store, and I made a little Lego Kevin. We made a Lego version of myself and a Lego version of my brother. Just a little something fun to gift him. And then we went over to Milk Bar. So again, if you don't know what that is, it's another fun Chef's Table episode by Christina Tosi. She opened up Milk Bar, but it's just a whimsical little childlike wonder style bakery. You know, she does birthday cakes without the frosting on the outside, so you could see all the layers and all sorts of fun stuff. So we hit that up, and then we canceled our evening plans because we're like, I don't really know what we want to do, and we'll just save Central Park for the next day. Well, little did I know, I got a message from Dan Orchard, our interim CEO. I got a message from him the night before because he was trying to spend time with consultants. So I want you to know this. First off, when you go on these incentive trips, people like Dan and home office staff want to spend time with us. They want to hang out with us. They want to get to know us. And it is the most magical thing. So anyways, the night prior, we're out with Cincy friends. He had messaged me and was like, hey, what are you guys up to tomorrow? And, you know, we just kind of exchanged plans and what we're doing. And then, you know, come back to day 3 when we didn't have plans for the evening. I just shot Dan a message on Facebook and I said, hey, Dan, like, what are you guys up to? He's like, oh, hey, we're going to go to pizza and then walk across the bridge. We're leaving in an hour. And I was like, cool, if it would be totally okay, seriously, feel free to say no, but can we tag along? He's like, oh, totally. Like, please come. A handful of other people are coming. It'll be a great time. So it was amazing. You know, we met up with everybody. It was Candy Hine, Christina Steinbrook, myself, Kevin and Owen. And then we had Dan there, Sam, who's our chief of staff, with his wife, Kathy. She's the sweetest thing in the whole world. We had Michaela Chaplin and Heather Bushman from events, and then Hunter from security. And we all just got to hang out for the night. So we hopped on the subway, took the subway down. We went to Juliana's Pizza, the best pizza we had all week, mind you, and we went to 7 different places. So best pizza we had all week, went over down by the pier, took some pictures together. And then as it got dark, we went and walked across the Brooklyn Bridge. And let me show you guys these pictures because, again, like, it truly is so magical. All right. So there's Milk Bar. She's known for doing cornflake, you know, like cereal milk stuff. So with cornflakes, so that was fun. Here's our Ivan Ramen. It was incredible, guys. It was so stinking good. Here's our butter beer. Very, very tasty. Kevin was a huge fan of that. Went over to the Lego store. There's my Lego Kevin. So stinking cute. All right, so here's the Brooklyn Bridge at nighttime. So as you can see, it is just the coolest dang thing. Like that is just a view of the city that you don't get to see often. So this is right before we walked across the bridge. But yeah, just super cool. Very perfect setting. I'll explain that picture. So then after that, we went over to the Grand Central Station from the subway. Super cool. A few people haven't seen it yet. And then there's this tundra, this rotunda that has vaulted ceilings that are rounded. And if you put your face in the corner and then someone goes to the opposite corner and puts their face in the corner, so there's Owen, here's Kevin, and you speak into the corner, the person on the opposite side can hear you. So that was just really cool to see and do, which was just super, super awesome. So it was just nice to like spend that one-on-one time with just home office staff. And, you talk about life, you talk about work, but it really just kind of brings things full circle for you. So then finally we had our last night together. So we were free during the day. Kevin and I had gone to Central Park. So we picked up some donuts on the way, went to Central Park, ate our donuts in the park, walked around. It was so magical while we were there. So I collect local art. So anytime we travel, I buy a piece of art done by a local artist and I hang it up on our travel wall. And this is like what I struggle with the most during the trip is figuring out what am I going to buy? How many are we going to see? And I saw this little old man from Ukraine, barely spoke a lick of English. He told us about his paintings. He only took cash. And I walked past him and then we go through our day. And I'm like, I need that. We have to go back. I'm going to be so mad at myself if I don't go buy one of those paintings. So we go to the ATM, we grab cash, we're coming back, and who do we run into? Dan, Sam, and Kathy, which was so cool. They're like, oh, what are you guys up to? And I'm like, oh, actually, we're going to go buy a painting. So they joined us. We went back over to the cute little Ukrainian man. Here it is. Is this not? So it's hand painted and signed on canvas. So beautiful. I can't even get over it. I'm like more than obsessed. So very obsessed with that painting. So they hung out with us for a little bit. Dan had to go leave for a meeting. So then we hung out with Sam and Kathy on the walk back to the hotel. And oh my gosh, guys, really, truly just hanging out with anyone from home office is a magical experience. You really get to see what the other side of things are. And the other thing about home office staff is they are so appreciative of us, like me and you as consultants. They're so appreciative of, because if we didn't show up the way we do, if we didn't stay consistent, if we didn't enter in sales, if we didn't do parties, if we didn't grow our teams and our teams didn't show up, they wouldn't have a job. And they talk about it all the time. They'll thank you all the time for all the hard work that you do because it truly keeps them employed. So know this, that when you show up, it makes a difference in the lives of others. You have an impact just by showing up with Scentsy because you're helping people have jobs and work for Scentsy. And let me tell you, it's an amazing company to work for. So that's what we did beforehand, got ready, and then our farewell dinner. They rented out the basement, the lower level of Bond 45. We had a family style 4-course meal, right? Delicious, super, super tasty Caesar salad. We had pizza, homemade meatballs. We had calamari. For the entree course, we had pasta carbonara, we had filet, and we had a lemon crusted chicken. To finish off, we had a huge dessert platter with all sorts of chocolates and cheesecakes and all sorts of fun desserts. And then after dinner, we went to Hamilton. So on Broadway at Roger Theater, we got to see Hamilton. And let me tell you guys, Scentsy booked us like the best seats in the house. They were like the second set of rows up right at the front. So great. It's a small, intimate little theater. So you really just get to have a full experience. The energy of those actors on stage were explosive. They all were so into it. They added fun little playful touches to the play musical, and it was something I'll never forget. Never in my life will I forget it. And it was just a really incredible trip. And guys, I'll tell you this, you earn the trip. It's hard work. It takes consistency. It takes high sales. It takes recruiting, team building, supporting your team. But you know what? It's so much more than that. Like, you're building a super healthy business when you work towards these, and the reward pays off significantly. So for my stuff, that was covered: the flight, the hotel, the welcome reception, the New York passes for 2 full days, our finale dinner, our Hamilton tickets, and they gave us room drops, and they gave us $350 to spend to help cover expenses in between meals and such that while we were in New York, which was amazing. Absolutely incredible. So back to those room drops. So every night while you're in your hotel, you'll go away for the day to go do things. And when you come back, there's a gift on your bed every single time. It is the most magical thing ever. It's super, super fun. So those room drops are just super, super cool. They're so magical. So our first night, we got a Scout bag. So it's New York City themed. It's a Scout bag, super durable. I don't even know what you would call this. I don't remember what this kind of fabric's called, but it is, let me see if it says all weather woven fabric, water resistant, wipes clean, durable, and long lasting, heavy duty. But yeah, it's like a big old bag to carry all of our stuff in. So they gave us this, and we had a little pop-up map, and they have the cutest little cards that we get with these. So if you're like a scrapbooker, you want to pop them in a shadow box, they're really cute for that. So it says day 1 New York tote and pop-up bag, and then they have cute little messages that Eldon Gale writes out himself, and they all coordinate together. So from here, the heart of Times Square, almost anything is available to you in the New York Minute. The question is, where do you begin? No matter how you fill your days, a good tote always comes in handy, and we found the perfect one: heavy duty but light and ready for whatever comes your way. The Scout New York Market tote will carry your memories and mementos as you explore the storied city. And we know that a pop-up map will be there just when you need it. We're thrilled you're here and look forward to sharing an unforgettable few days together as we take a bite out of the Big Apple. So this was day 1. We came back after our welcome dinner and found that super, super cute thing. Now, day 2, a partially eaten, but was full. It was a chocolate Empire State Building. Again, I already told you I took a few bites of it. It was tasty. So day 2 was a lilac chocolate skyscraper. So you'll see that here. For as big as New York seems, it really is just a collection of neighborhoods, each with its own unique personality, history, architecture, food, and attractions. As you explored your chosen neighborhood this morning, we hope you learned something new, saw something beautiful, ate something wonderful, and found something unexpected. While the city that never sleeps is ever evolving, some things stand the test of time. Meet Lilac Chocolates. Founded in 1923 by Greek immigrants, Lilac is the oldest chocolate house in Manhattan and has enjoyed a loyal following ever since. One bite and we think you'll see why. Thank you for joining us today, and sweet dreams. How sweet is this? So they're tying everything together. So again, a tote that's going to help you carry everything, a map, chocolates, because who doesn't love chocolate? They almost always include some sort of sweet treat, and I'm always so thankful for that, because I love sweets. Oh, also on the first day, we got our little agenda here, which again is just super cute little memento. All right, on day 3, we had Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow. All right, Tony, Emmy, and Grammy Award winner Lin-Manuel Miranda was on vacation when he picked up a copy of a book about a little-known founding father, Alexander Hamilton. A few chapters in, Miranda was already sketching out songs, and the rest, as they say, is history. Hamilton would go on to enjoy universal acclaim and redefine the form, casting, and appeal of American musical theater. It's been said that the book is always better, so we're going to put that theory to the test. Here it is, the book that started it all. Maybe it will spark your imagination and lead to something amazing. We're thrilled for you to experience the musical tomorrow night and can't wait to share it with you. Until then, happy reading. So they gave us the whole dang book from Hamilton. Literally, Lin-Manuel Miranda read this book, and that's what inspired one of the biggest musicals of all times. So that was just a super cool one. That, I think, was Kevin's favorite room drop. He's a big history buff. All right. So again, part of our Cincy gift on any incentive trip, you always get pins. So for you, experience New York City Cincy incentive trip. Oh, it's just so cool. So they give you little pins. They're nice little collector's items. And for our final night, we come home from Hamilton to this huge white package on our bed. And with that package, on our final card for the evening for you, the New York Times front page. The finale of Hamilton asks, who lives, who dies, who tells your story? With all things historical, so much of what is known about a person or an event depends on who tells the story. As it happens, one of the world's greatest sources of information and storytelling is located just a few blocks from the hotel, the New York Times. Founded in 1851, the Times has been widely regarded as the country's #1 newspaper and a definitive source of information ever since. So we dipped into their archives and did a reprint of the front page from the day that you were born. While they probably didn't cover the occasion itself, we thought you would enjoy seeing what other events were happening on that momentous day. We hope your time here in New York has been as rewarding and memorable as for you as it has been for us. We've loved being with you and celebrating you in this unforgettable city. Thank you for all that you do to live Cincy values and for the way you support your customers, your team, and each other. Safe travels home. Now, guys, every single consultant on the trip got a customized one of these blown up New York Times front page cover from the day that you were born. So you're all going to find out how much of a baby everyone thinks I am. August 30th, 1995. Everyone's was customized and different, which is so cool. Here's a little playbill from our play, which was so amazing. But guys, honestly, the true reward is how much your business grows when you work towards a trip. The bonus is the incentive trip, but it's okay for you to just want the incentive trip. There's no shame in that. It is amazing. It's incredible. There's no way to travel like Cincy travel. They take so much off your plate. They whisk you away. They give you that childlike wonder as every day you come back to that hotel room and you find a gift waiting for you. There's nothing like it. And I'm telling you that your business right now, even if you're nowhere ready to earn a trip, you can start right now. Start right now by growing your customer base. Start right now by creating a follow-up system or tweaking your follow-up system so that you can really build relationships with your customers and continue to get orders from them. Partying. The more you party, the more your PRV increases, the bigger your customer base is going to get, and the more people that will join your team, okay? And finally, work on building your team right now, because what you do now is going to reflect the results you're going to find in the fall winter season when we're working towards our next trip. You're going to find that the work you put in today is going to determine how successful you are 3 to 6 months down the road. And the lack of work you put in today is going to determine the lack of results you'll see 3 to 6 months from now. We are in a season of planting seeds so that in the fall we can harvest some apples. The big apple. Do you get it? Oh my goodness, I'm the worst. But really, show up now. Do the hard things now. Get uncomfortable now. Stay consistent. And by the time fall rolls around and we start working towards this new incentive period, you will have a much easier time actually making it happen. You're going to need to have some pretty good sales, a minimum of 1,000 a month. So if you're not there yet, start working towards it now. If you can sell more, the easier this trip will be. If you start building a team now, or you start asking people to join your team now, you'll have more people to follow up with and have join later on, or more people who you can help with growing their own teams or growing their own businesses. There is so much that you can do right now to set yourself up for success, to make sure that you are on that next incentive trip with me, because guys, I'm here. I will be on this next incentive trip and I don't want to miss another one ever again. And I want you to experience it. So please put the work in, use this as motivation, because imagine what can still come. Imagine what trip is going to be next. There's always going to be another trip, right? And that's the other thing, guys. When you show up in big ways for your business, it helps you. It helps your families. It helps your team members. And it goes beyond that. It is bigger than us because it helps an entire staff of thousands of employees. When you show up, you make sure that those people that work in shipping have orders to package up. You make sure that you're building up a business that earns incentive trips so that the events team can keep planning incentive trips. You do all of these things so that every part of home office can still have the incredible jobs that they do. Their jobs aren't on the line, but when we do well, it helps them out. So you make a difference. You have an impact. You are capable of doing hard things that make you uncomfortable, that will make you grow to make sure you're on this next trip. I love you guys. Please come find me when you finally earn that next trip so that I can give you the biggest hug in the world. I'll see you guys at SFR, and stay tuned because I'm going to make sure that I share lots of stuff to help you get there by the time this next trip comes along. I love you.